So welcome back to the social class for class 9. The last time we was on history, and that was the Nazism and the rise of Adolf Hitler. But today we'll go on political science, and that will be the chapter 1. So in your textbook, chapter 1, chapter 2 are very similar. So chapter 1 is not there. So better we'll go for chapter 2. Let's make chapter 1. So some deductions of the chapters are there as per the syllabus of class 9 for this time. So that syllabus I already sent here. So today we'll go on the political science, and that is the chapter 1. What is democracy? Why democracy? Yes, like in class 8 you already studied regarding on democracy, rules and regulation, constituencies. So many things you already studied here. But in class 9, the democracy and their terms are more broader than the lower class. In lower class you maybe study the context of India, but now in class 9 we'll study the context of the world, the meaning of democracy and why it is so important, the merits and demerits of democracy. So those all things we have to study in this past chapter. Why is democracy and what is democracy and why is democracy? So in a simple definitions, when it refers to the democracy is a form of government where the rulers are elected by the people, or the Abraham Lincoln, the shortest definitions which they are given, like democracy is the form of government of the people, by the people and for the people. So through that we can easily understand the meaning of democracy. So you may be heard that what is exactly democracy? So the democracy is actually a form of government. So like many forms of governments are there, like communist forms of government which is in China, capitalist forms of government which is in USA, and like democratic forms of government. Now basically at this contemporary age we reverse this tree. But when we go to the history, there we study more on like different ruling system, like monarchical systems are there, where only from few members from their particular family members are ruling continuously, like kingship system, queen system, like their grandfathers are king, forefathers will be king, fathers will be king, son, grandson. So that's one family, the rotations of the rulings are continuous. That's we actually refer as a monarchical system, where kingship system and queenship systems are found there. Beside like we found like regarding on the during the past World War, before past World War and after the past World War, we found like the dictatorship system. In their dictatorship system also we found like due to the military power, due to the military powers, they tried to be controls and rule to the common people to show their power. Like we already found, like Mussolini, Hitlers are there, who are very powerful as a military leaders, and forcefully they make them to be obey their rules and regulations. That's come under dictatorship forms of government. Besides that, like autocracies are there, tyrannical systems are there, like hierarchical systems are there. So that's are all the forms of government. How the governments are ruling to the people. That's are the system there. So now we have to concentrate on the democratic forms of the government. So when we refer to democratic forms of the government, especially I already explained that the democratic forms of government means, in the simple term, the leaders are elected by the common people. That is the simplest way to be described as the democratic forms of the government. So as the democratic forms of governments, and what are the features of the democratic forms of the government? So as for the features, number 1 is free and fair electoral competitions. Yes. Number 2, one person, one vote and one value. Number 3, the rules of law and respect for the rights. So now as per the first point, free and fair electoral competitions. In democratic forms of the government, the elections should be free and fair. As you already studied, like 3 types of elections are there, dismissal system, like by-election, which was conducted after 1 year or 2 years after elections, when the persons are resign or dead. The candidates are resign or dead, the leaders. Midterm elections, the second one, where they have no competence to run the government continuously. In between the 5 years when the elections are conducted and all the systems are changed, the rulings are changed, that's we refer as the midterm election. And third one, that is the general election. When we refer to the general elections are conducted every after 5 years. That's we refer as general elections, and these are conducted by the election commissioners of India. So, like the previous year, we found that the election was conducted some state, and this year also it will be conduct in some state, and coming year also the conduct the some state. So that's the rotations. Like every after 5 years, the elections are conduct. Now, what are the importance of conducting the elections within this 5 year, and what are the importance of the democratic forms of government and election system? In democratic forms of government, we are electing our leaders. Now, in election system, the elections are conducted every after 5 years. Now, whomever we are choose our leader and casting our vote through the universal adult franchise. I think you already know that universal adult franchise. So, universal adult franchise means the right to cast their vote, especially the persons who are above 18 years. Irrespective of caste, color and creeds, we refer them as universal adult franchise. That means you are right to be cast your vote. That means you are declared as the mature. You are right to be choose your own leaders. That's exactly meaning. So as per that, when you refers to the advantage of the 5 years, that means general elections, there in this year, suppose in this one sessions you are choose one particular leader, and that leaders are incompetent. And leaders are unable to do a good for you, means for your society and welfare. They are unable to bring up the welfare of the society. All the funds, schemes, projects are taken by themselves and their family. Then the next coming year, next general election, then you can be choose another leader who are more capable than that. That is the true choice of the common people. Because here the rulers are not going to rule continuously for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years or 30 years. Here we have a power. To whom we want to make the leaders, then they can only become as per the majority decision of the particular jurisdictions and their state. So there is some advantage of the democratic form of the government. Now what I mean on the free and fair electoral competitions, the electoral competition should be there. Otherwise, without competitions, if we simply declaring them, it's like the autocracy, monarchical system. That's their family members are go continuously as a ruling. No, this is democracy. If that particular persons are not working for a goodness and welfare of the people, then we should be change them. We have an ultimate power. The next time we should be voted out them, and we will bring the new leaders. We vote a new leaders who are more capable, who can do more goodness for our society. So that is the free and fair electoral competitions, and that should be free and fair. It means not that like you may be heard about the proxy votings. It means not like they go for the double votings, the looted the ballot box. No. In the election system, when the elections are conducting there, the government machineries are engaging there, and their main work and policy is to be do a good and welfare of the people. And for that they are set up many new things, like how to be make a free and fair elections. There should be no corrupt things. So there should be no violence against the people. They should not forcefully cast their vote in their favor. So that all should not be there. So whatever things, whenever the elections are conducting there, that should be very fair. Every people should be choose their right. Every people should be go through their right. Whomever do they like, they can be do. It means not that your elders are said to cast this particular candidate, then you will cast. No, you should be use your own right. Whomever you feel that particular candidates are good and can be capable of doing a goodness. So that you can be choose. So the power is upon us. So we can be choose. We can be change the society and welfare. So that's exactly meaning of free and fair elections. It should be not dominated from the pressure group. It should not be dominated from the upper side. So whatever you have, you should be do by yourself very freely without any pressurizing. So that's meaning of free and fair election competitors. The next, there is one vote, one value, and one person, one vote, and one value. When you refers to the one person, one vote, one value, that should be the count as the oneness. Like if you study the book of the different constitutional power, especially like the different countries, if you go back to the history also, we found like that. Like in the Europe also, like in France, during the French revolutions, male can only give a right to be cast the vote, females are not giving. That is not good. Male and females are equally be give. and like those who are in the upper caste, those who are a rich family, those who are wealthy, their vote should be counted as a 2, and others are counted only 1. So that's not good, it's not fair. If your caste, you, mine, and anyone, that should be give as only oneness. It means not that I am a teacher and I have cast my vote, so my vote will be counted 2, and you are casting, you are students, yours should be 1. No, 1 people, 1 vote, 1 value should be there. So it means not that either you are a Prime Minister of India, either you are a President of India. So whenever you are going casting the vote, your vote should be counted only as a 1 citizens. When the elections are conducting there, when the elections are, so votings are casting there, either President or the Prime Minister or any rich peoples or 4 peoples, their voting should be counting only single piece of paper or single counting 1. It means not that President they have a 5 vote power, Prime Minister they have a 3 vote power, lower class peoples they have a 0.5 persons. No, it's not like that. Either it's rich, poor, male, female, white, black, anyone. So whoever right to be cast their vote, who are reached the age of 18 years, their when they come casting their vote, valuable vote, that should be counting as a 1, not more than that. And that's exactly meaning 1 person's 1 vote and 1 value equally give there. So it means not that I will go 2-3 times during the election time. That's come under the proxy. It is difficult there. It means not that the sitting MLAs go for casting 3-4 times. No, you go 1 time, cast your vote, that should be take as 1 value, only 1 vote. It means not that you are a sitting MLA, yours should be 5-6 counting as, yours should be 5-6 value. No, 1 vote, 1 value and 1 person's, that's very important. The next is the rules of law and the respect of right. And the rules of law and the respect of right, and it will be the last topic for today, for this today's sessions. And then the next sessions I will go to the remaining topic of this chapter, that is what is democracy, why democracy. So till now we found the what is democracy, and the next sessions will go for the why democracy. So rules of law and respect of the right, we should be abide by the rules and regulations, like you already studied in a class 8. Like Indian Constitution was adopted from the 1950, 26th of January, which was in force, but adopted in 26 November 1949. The drafting chairman Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. They are making rules for each and everyone as same. It means they are not giving the more power to the high class people and less power to the lower class people. No, everyone should be same in the eyes of a law. Everyone should be treated equally. So this is exactly rules. So as per that, the rules of a law and respect for their right, like we come back to the Indian Constitution also. In Indian Constitution, we already found there the key features of Indian Constitution, like separations of power, the federalisms, like secularisms, so like parliamentary forms of government. So all those are come, like when it refers to the elements or key elements of the parliamentary forms of government, like Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha are there. So like fundamental rights, like right to equality, like to liberties, remedy against the constituencies. So like educational, cultural and educational rights. So all rights are provided. So that's rights should be used. We should be violated against them. Like when it refers to the separations of power, like executives, like judiciaries, like legislatures are there. So 3 forms of the key organs are also there. So that kinds of systems should be work on that, and that's we should be give a value. Without rules and regulations, it's very difficult to run the countries. And like generally I give the example also. Like when you come to the class, if the rules and regulations are there, so classes are all started from the 9:30, in class get over by the 3:30, and to 12:30 you will get for the lunch break. So if the rules and regulations are there, so whenever you want to come, whenever you like you come, so it's not work. Then education systems are not there. That means 2:30 you come for the class, you sit till 6:30, you go here and there, sing a song, dancing in the classroom. So that is not provided by the law. It is not written in the law. You should be choose your right. You should be do your right. But that should become under the what is written on the law. So when it refers to the rights are granted by the society and protected by the law. That's we refers as the right. It means not that you have a right to do whatever you can do. No, that is also written in the law. that's also protected by the law rules and regulations and law, and as well as prescribed by the society. Then only you can do there. So for today that much only, there. And next sessions will go for the why the democracy, merit and demerits of the democracy, and it is working or not. So especially the most of country now, which we refer as the third countries, are converted into the democratic forms of the government. Before the past, so after the Second World War, during the Cold War time, during that time, especially the communist forms of the government and capitalist forms of the governments are very strong there, which they want to take an alliance with the other country to convert to get to their forms of government. But now most of the countries, they believe the democratic forms of the governments are the suitable forms of government, and they try to be converted their government also in democratic forms of government. And I think you remember that the case of Nepal also in 2006 itself there, where the King Gajendra Singh was overthrown and they restored the democratic forms of the governments are there. So the things in class 10 also you will study that. In class 8 also it's refers that. So you study the textbook more, and if you have any doubt, any problem, after you study the textbook, and many examples are given of different countries like JOPAs are there, like Slovakia, many countries they are referring there. So once you study, and if it's difficult to understand, you text me or either you directly call me. So I try to explain it easy way, which you understand more on that topic. And without your study the textbook, it's very difficult for you to understand. And once you watch this video context, and as well as study the textbook also. So for today that much, and the next session will start it soon. The remaining, that is why democracy. Thank you.